in the fall. And the novel takes place in Ireland, and the characters are from Ireland, the United States, and India. And so it's about global immigration and about how the stories of our ancestors live on in us even when we have left the lands that they're from, and how it's our job in each generation to reconnect with the land no matter where we are. It's also a love story. And speaking of love, I've chosen poems for tonight that each have a love theme, not all romantic love, but if you want to play a drinking game, the word love appears in every poem, and you could take a sip of your water or coffee every time you hear it. This is called The Trick of Days. Some Wednesdays are unwarranted. The hospital visit to see your mother, the call about an aunt's death from your brother, being unable to see your sister in the mental ward during lunchtime. On these days, everything is not fine. And then there are days you combust. The bank account goes belly up. The car breaks down. Your creepy uncle is in town. Your nemesis is in the New York Times book review, and they call him brilliant. On these days, it's hard to be resilient. But then come days you want to propagate. Ideas flow, beauty shows, love shines, no one whines, no one is late. The tax collector calls and says they made a big mistake. You are owed real money. Come and get it. On these days, your reality is fantasy. Here is the trick of days and their justification. Days never take a vacation. They show up, they grow up, they take our prompts and make something of them. They take our heavy baggage and lean on it. May we be so useful. May we wear such a wise bonnet.
Nice.
When love comes. Watching Oprah, I see a woman. She is listing what she wants in a lover. She is 41. The list is long. Oprah tells her there's only one man in the world like that, and his name is Jesus. When love does come, you think, he will sound mellifluous. He will flow like honey. Your dreams will take a jitney to the land of joy. Isn't this our fantasy? Eat, pray, love, foreign travel, cute boy. Somehow you will hold your head aloft and stand apart from the past and what might break, or is already broken. Liz was running from divorce, and Jesus, well, you've had that course. This is my confession. I have 3 friends in their 40s who have recently found love. In one case, he is married, and so is she. In another case, he is an addict. And I don't mean coffee or yoga or climbing trees. In the third case, they live 4,751 miles apart. She did the math. She knows the numbers by heart. So here's my advice to my love-seeking friends. Acceptance. Whatever is malevolent in your path will rise to meet you. I swear to you this is the truth, and I have my own nefarious past as proof. This is the alchemy of love. This is pulchritude. The word means beauty and has its roots in the magnolia, that cheeky monkey tree of white sweetness and blood-red burrs that drop. So stop. Accept that love is a laughing gull with a slip knot in his mouth. It is in his nature to laugh at a random joke, and when he does, he will drop the rope around your neck. So this is the time to take your pick. Leave the noose there and it will congeal, or untie it by pulling the one free end. This choice is up to you, my friend. Earth is a free will zone, but freedom doesn't mean you have to be alone. It also doesn't mean there's an enemy. Repeat after me. I have what I need. Apply an embrocation as you say it. Soothe what hurts you with a lotion. If you have a debt, don't expect anyone to pay it. Keep repeating this incantation. Call it out like a penguin on a dry and rocky beach. And before you know it, what you are missing will be within your reach. When love comes, you will learn patience. When love comes, you will be able to preach. When love comes, there will be no list. When love comes, you will be staying. When love comes, play will conquer need. So the nice thing about writing a novel is that you can do sex scenes. One of the main characters in the novel is Claire, who is a wife who lives in Dublin. She's there with her husband, who works for the World Bank, and he's helping Ireland make the transition to the euro in the European economy. And she has gone to an Indian restaurant for lunch and brought home some tea for him. And when he got home late from work, she gave him the tea. Michael turned to Claire and smiled. It worked, whatever magic there was in this tea, in this change in her. He kissed her neck. She took the mugs and laid them upon the bedside table where they tilted and clinked together and left rings on the poetry book. She nuzzled down deeper under the covers, pulling him with her. He glanced back briefly to make sure the bedroom door was shut and then dove all the way under the covers. He pulled on her wooden socks and held the soft underskin of her feet in his hands, which were still warm from the tea. He caressed the tops of her feet sweetly, and then her calves as he tugged at her pajama pants and kissed her thighs. She breathed in deep and laughed quietly as his tongue moved across her belly and up to her breasts, where he sucked and put his whole weight on top of her and entered her, placing her arms above her head so that there was nothing holding him up. They were pressed against each other like paper, like water, like the long, dark river that ran from the west beneath their window. He kissed her mouth, hard and long, and began to move, and as she shifted her hips, he thought again that this was the reason they were together. Not travel or dreams of Africa or the French language or money or even their child. This river, this. After she'd fallen asleep, he lay awake, wondering what kind of potion that tea had been. He'd been so tired when he walked through the door, and now here he was, wide awake, feeling the kind of energy he hadn't felt since he was young. He had felt her desire for him, and urgency, the urgency she described when she talked about writing. And he felt it for her too, for her body, for their bodies together. This was his poetry, what they made together. Work had never been most important to him, although he pretended to be like other men for whom it was. It was simply a kind of protection to pretend, for otherwise he would be too vulnerable, for the need he felt was too deep for everyday life, was too deep to admit during the day. Only at night, while Claire lay sleeping and he could touch her warm, soft skin under the covers, could he admit to himself briefly that she was his center, his home, right before he fell asleep. This poem was written at the fall equinox, which is the transition between summer and fall, and we're waiting desperately this winter for the spring equinox. So I thought I would read this in the hope of helping spring along. Equinox belief. Another day of death and starting over. The transition between the core of summer coming to its clandestine end and the birth of autumn, crunch of leaves and cool of air. Equal day and night, half and half, fair is fair. I have always loved the equanimity of this day, the way the fortitude of one season gives itself to the festive aspiration of the next, a time to be reflective of what is destiny and what is really luck. Balance books, added up, a buck's a buck. To be honest, I don't believe in the existence of an apex outside a science book. I am skeptical of guarantees, quick fixes, and clear messages beamed subliminally from thieves and crooks. Make your own message. Write your own book. But I do think there's something in the poetry of satellites and stars. I believe the moon is sometimes ravenous, eats too much, then goes on diets and is imperfect as we are. Running, walking, or crawling, far is far. I also think we have the capability of being illuminated every day, not just when Jupiter aligns with Mars. I also love the beauty of serendipity, its sudden song. Life is crisp and short. A day is sweet and long. I adore the way the world surprises us with beauty, how it sings to us at night through bullfrogs and washes up like sea stars onto unexpected shores. Everything is open. There are no doors. Since we've been talking about Jesus, this is called the True Seminary. The correlation between sunshine and my faith is spurious. The increase in my courage after motherhood was curious. That an inhibitor is necessary for healing makes me furious. That death is a way to metamorphose is beyond mysterious. Grace is a corroded anchor in an incandescent sea. Souls are both coal and crystal, longing for ecstasy. My Manhattan mind might envision heaven as a luxurious hotel with an open kitchen. A wiser dreamer knows that this is fiction. Silence is the true seminary. The room of glory may be as big as Texas, but it is empty. Love is less resplendent than cozy. If we want to know the face of God in this gloaming world, we must remind ourselves that countenance is both a noun and a verb. Let us not pray to fulfill the needs of some great list, but to be gentle. Let us hope that God is not still smitten with us as he was when we were little. One winter poem, and then I'll end with a final love poem about love from 1 to 8 and 80. But first, this is 13 ways of looking at winter. 1. Among 12 long months, retrograde happens at least once. 2. I am slow, like a planet that needs an incentive. 3. The beloved trees sway in the winter wind. It is a dance of reverence. 4. Snow and ice are one. Snow and a fountain with reluctance are one. 5. I do not know which to prefer, the emotion of this moment or the coming spring, this blissful freeze or anticipation. 6. Thoughts pepper my mind with hopes of being better. 7. O women in the bistro, do you not see the season swirling at your feet and longing for your attention? 8. I know what it means to ruffle feathers as a way of staying warm, but I know too that the feathers know more than I know. 9. When the winter flies out this year, it will be no different than other kinds of leaving. 10. At the sight of buds blushing on the trees, even the wind with disdain this season. 11. I once rode to Connecticut and discovered mountains. I'd been expecting flat land. The vision was a way to mend what had been broken. 12. The light is moving behind milky skies. The winter must be easing. 13. It was winter all season. There was snow and the promise of snow. The cardinal sat in the pear tree all day. Love from 1 to 8 and 80. And I wrote this one today. I like the zing of bringing something from that day. It's like bread out of the oven. Year 1. You learn the hopelessness of latching on. Year 10. You anticipate when your mother will be gone. Year 2. You dream of the circus, the roustabouts adopting you. Year 20. You dream of the feisty guy in chemistry seeing you anew. Year 3. You begin to think your mother is a spy. Year 30. This is beginning to be exhausting and you don't know why. Year 4. You can write the word love on a valentine. Year 40. You realize you can replenish and not give all the time. Year 5. You entrain your parents to give in before you scream. Year 50. You can compensate for anything with ice cream. Year 6. Legos, ponies, pink and paint. What you love, you glorify. Year 60. You meet women who tell you Shekinah is passing by. Year 7. Someone dies. Life is short. You are sad. Year 70. Someone dies. Life is wondrous. You are sad, yet glad. Year 8. You give your color forms to your sister. Year 80. You put jonquils on your mister. Sad, yet glad again. Thank you.